Gui Valente, and this is the Valente Brothers podcast. I'm here with Professor Pedro Valente.
Hello everyone, nice to see you. Welcome back.
Joaquim Valente is teaching seminars, so we're going to do this once again in duo format. And today we're going to talk about two philosophies that have influenced us a lot. I believe our mentors a lot in some direct and maybe indirect ways. I believe there are also some connections between both. The samurai philosophy and Stoicism, the Stoic philosophy. So I know that you like to study both. Of course, through jiu-jitsu, the samurai culture was always extremely of interest to us. But recently, the last years, we've been also studying Stoicism. Why don't we start with, in your view, the main differences between them?
Yes, because they're warrior philosophies. And there are many factors in common between warrior philosophies. Because when you are in war, it's time to be serious. And without discipline, without a sense of honor, without emotional balance, you will not survive. But when you study both samurai and Stoic philosophy, there are some particular differences that have to do more with the social organization of ancient Greece compared to old Japan than actually philosophical differences.
The feudal Japan.
Correct. In Japan, social structure, the caste system, was very important. A sense of social hierarchy. And one of the most important aspects of samurai philosophy was loyalty. And when you really dive deep into the philosophical principles, they don't really match what became known as the most important virtue for a samurai, which is blind loyalty to the master. When you look at the characters for loyalty in studying samurai philosophy, there are two characters, Chu, Gi. Gi is rectitude. Chu is fidelity. And the idea is that if loyalty does not include rectitude, if you're not doing the right thing, then it is not real loyalty. But when you think of the old samurais, they were supposed to blindly follow their superiors, their masters.
The lords.
The lords. And that created great conflict for them. Even many of the Japanese stories about samurais, the movies, the books, they deal with this difficult decision that many times these warriors were faced with between loyalty to their lord or doing what they believed was right. The Stoic philosophy is more about the individual.
Just quickly touching on still the samurai scenario that you illustrated, they would even sometimes offer their own lives if they felt that there was a very difficult decision between doing what was right and this, what they called loyalty, this blind loyalty to their lord.
Because to them, the most important thing was honor. So every decision had to be made with honor. So in that situation, they felt like they had three choices. So they had to pick the most honorable one. To disrespect the Lord, to do what they believed is right, or to die. And sometimes they believed that dying was the honorable thing to do, so they didn't have to choose. And so, because they felt that both would be dishonorable. To go against the Lord would be dishonorable, and to follow the Lord and do something that was not righteous would also be dishonorable.
And in old Japan, dying, committing seppuku or harakiri was accepted.
Was accepted, and it was actually because one of the main differences between death for the modern Westerners and death for the Japanese samurais is like this. For Westerners, what's most important about death? When you're going to die. People always think about when. They want to prolong. They don't want to die now. They want to avoid death as much as possible. For the samurai, it wasn't about when. It was about how. To them, it wasn't really important when they died. It was all about how you die. You needed to die with honor. So if you had an opportunity to die with honor right now, you would do it. Because you wouldn't pass, because sometimes that opportunity never came. And to them, that was the worst thing. If you went through your whole life without an opportunity to die with honor, doing something positive, doing something good. And so many times they felt that faced with such a situation, the honorable thing to do was to commit suicide.
So going back, because you were making the parallel, I asked you about the differences between.
Well, that's the main one. And this idea of full loyalty, not only to the Lord, but also this sense of this social sense of community, a collective sense that you're part of a team, and it's not so much about what you believe, it's about the group. You have to go with the group, with the norm.
And for Stoics, it wasn't like that?
No. Stoics, they talk more about reason and about the individual searching for this apatheia. I don't know if I'm pronouncing it correctly, but it's maximum fudoshin. Now I'm comparing two terms, one Greek, one Japanese. Fudoshin is your ability not to be affected by things, not to be controlled by your desires and your passions. And the Greeks, the ultimate goal of Stoicism is to become free from passions, from desires, and not to be affected by things emotionally. To have a perfect sense of equanimity, of emotional balance.
The Japanese samurai also.
Also, Fudoshin was one of the most important elements in there. So that's what I'm saying. You're asking me about differences, but the truth is that they are very, very similar in the ultimate goal on how you cultivate your spirit as a warrior and as a human being. And I believe that the most important traits that are encouraged through both philosophies are discipline, honor, facing life with honor, with dignity, and resilience.
What would be, and we've talked about this before in our private conversations, what would be the direct opposite, if you had to choose one, of course, the direct opposite philosophy in comparison to Stoicism?
Well, a lot of the things that we see on Instagram today, I know hedonism is something that we've talked about, but I think nowadays, because, human beings are living times of peace, we don't know for how long, hopefully for a long time.
Well, when you say human beings...
Well, yes, the ones that are on Instagram, most of them. Yeah. They are...
there are many parts of the world already where there's a lot of fighting going on.
Absolutely. But many people, those that we see on Instagram, and they are...
On Instagram and also not on Instagram.
Well, yes, everywhere. It's ubiquitous in our society, unfortunately. They espouse a philosophy of weakness, hiding from emotions, not facing difficult decisions, trying to always overprotect. Oh, I can't stand this. This is too much for me. I have to rest. Oh, and not developing strength, mental strength, physical strength, to be able to feel like you can face whatever happens around you, trying to control the variables so that human beings don't suffer.
And a lot of times that is achieved through mind-altering substances.
Correct.
Right?
Many times.
But if you look back in many warrior cultures, one could say, even though that's an interesting debate, one could say that, for example, sake, right? The alcoholic beverage, Japanese beverage, was part of the samurai culture. However, we have encountered several documents, several books, ancient books, where there are specific recommendations, even in relation to alcohol.
Absolutely. And we need to make a distinction between how samurais lived their life and samurai philosophy.
Yeah.
You think what? Everybody was perfect without any desire. They were human beings.
It's like jujitsu. Oh, you're a jujitsu black belt, automatically you live a certain way? No.
No.
Absolutely.
There are some.
There is a clear jujitsu philosophy, and that's something that we've been trying to reestablish. There is. You can choose not to follow.
Correct.
But to say that no, jujitsu philosophy is whatever you want it to be doesn't make any sense. It would be the equivalent of saying Stoicism is whatever you want it to be.
No, but it's like saying a lot of jiu-jitsu black belts drink, so drinking is part of the jiu-jitsu philosophy. A lot of jiu-jitsu black belts smoke weed, so that means that smoking weed is part of the jiu-jitsu philosophy. No. So the fact that many samurais like to drink doesn't make it part of the jiu-jitsu philosophy. The fact that many people in ancient Greece had habits that might contradict what we're saying doesn't mean that it goes against the philosophy.
It doesn't mean that it goes against, no.
The fact that what they're doing, it doesn't mean that the principle goes against the philosophy, right? The principle that, for example, not drinking alcohol. The fact that a lot of people drink doesn't mean that it goes against what we're saying, that drinking alcohol is bad.
Oh, okay. That goes against what we're saying.
Correct.
Yeah.
The principle.
Yeah, so, but is it really something that samurai were not supposed to do? How can you say that?
Well, the truth is that when you...
Because let me just say, it is a big part even of the military culture to drink and to have
Yes.
Parties where...
Yeah. When you go back to some of the books that we've read about alcohol from that time, we have a book that was written in the 17th century by a samurai about health, with many health recommendations, but they don't, at that time, they didn't prohibit alcohol, but they talk about not drinking too much, not getting drunk. And then you say, well, so you see, they were recommending alcohol in moderation. It doesn't necessarily mean that. It means that sometimes you have to do what's possible in the moment. Maybe they felt that if they told people not to drink at all, that would not work. They know something is bad. They know that most people would not listen to a recommendation that you shouldn't drink at all. So they say, well, so at least don't drink as much.
Yeah, Stoicism, I think, talks a lot about that. When, one of the central aspects of it is self-control. So I think it goes to what you're saying. But
at the moment you find out that that's bad for you and doesn't bring you any benefit other than maybe immediate gratification, and it weakens your ability, that's the most important thing. By numbing your feelings, you're weakening your ability to reach this ultimate level of fudoshin, of emotional balance, of equanimity. You're weakening that. Because if you do it unnaturally, if you do it artificially, you're weakening your body's ability to do it naturally. Yeah. That's why now let's talk about Valente brothers' philosophy.
No, but still, with the before that, Stoicism, if you really dive deep into Stoicism and its practical wisdom, if you deem, like you said already, if you deem that alcohol or anything else is negative,
you don't do it.
You don't do it.
The same with the samurai, but people can debate that. Oh, well, but I have a samurai philosopher who said...
Or maybe it's good for me at a certain point of my life,
yes.
Just like you might need to take a certain medicine.
Okay. and that's debatable. But the point that I'm making here is that philosophically speaking, now I want to talk about Valente Brothers' philosophy.
Yes.
And why we, Valente Brothers, don't drink alcohol ever, and we avoid mind-altering substances. I don't use any mind-altering substance, and I don't think you do either. So
I don't.
Exactly. So, and why is that, philosophically speaking? Because we believe that we have the ability naturally, our bodies, our minds are equipped with the ability to be resilient. So if you get upset, to go back to a balanced state. If you get any feeling, any sadness, you're able naturally to bring yourself back, to self-regulate, to self-soothe.
Self-reliance goes back to self-reliance.
100%.
But
anytime you do it artificially, you're weakening your natural ability to be able to do it.
And I think you're also weakening, in a way, in a very direct way, your self-esteem.
Yes, because you feel like you can't do it on your own.
Right? Your confidence is being harmed because it's a crutch.
People who drink coffee all the time, let's bring back coffee. They're more tired without coffee than we are. They need the coffee. They become tired all the time without the coffee.
Yeah, but Pedro, we've talked a lot about this as well. It's like that person that, and again, if you need it, and we come from a family of generations of doctors in medicine, I think we have to be very also grateful to the advancements of medicine, and I think people sometimes can live longer because of certain even drugs. So we have to always be very mindful of that.
Absolutely.
And understand that what we're saying is in no way
anti-medicine.
Yes. But we're talking about the ideal scenario, what you should strive for, right? And I think you should strive for, through many different ways, including the practice of jiu-jitsu, you should strive for a state of health where you don't need these...
Natural resilience. What is resilience? Being able to go back to your normal state, to your natural state.
And if for any reason you need that, if you need a substance, you should accept that if there's really no way for you to fight against it, right? If it's a condition, for example, even though we believe that there are many ways that you should try to still work on.
But that's why I was talking about us. Yeah. For everybody else, they have to see their exact...
I just think that's important because we listen to this, and we sometimes even with friends of ours, right, where now there's a push to convince people that, well, alcohol lately has been under attack, right? But there are certain drugs, there are certain practices that involve mind-altering substances where individuals will promote that, saying that
under the guise that it's natural.
Yeah, it's natural, or it's been around for many generations. And even though, and I'm trying to be very fair,
politically correct.
No, I wouldn't say it's politically correct. And yeah, it might work for you, but it's still a crutch.
So this is the thing. Let's be practical.
Don't push it on others.
Let's talk about stress. So stress is a part of...
I heard the other day, Pedro, someone saying that they would recommend... I just want to make this point, and then I'll let you speak freely. But someone was saying that they would recommend their child. Now, I think it's good for my child to start using marijuana. I think it's positive.
If they believe it's good, that's their belief. What can we do? They're doing what they believe is right. I strongly disagree. But I think it's better than someone who knows it's bad and still does it.
Well, I think when it comes to children, I think that's a debate.
But they think it's good.
Well, but you're going to... Okay, you think it's good to harm a child? You're allowed to?
No, I'm not saying that you should be allowed to. That's a different story.
Exactly.
But the person who thinks it's good is crazy, needs to be put in a mental institution so they don't harm children. I understand.
Got it.
So, but they're not going to be able to do it. They can only do what they believe is right. That's a different conversation. The point is that if you want practical terms, if you want to improve your ability to deal with stress, drinking alcohol to be able to relax is not a good thing. You're hindering your ability to deal with stress without alcohol. That's the point.
But what if one says that, well, if I don't do it, I'm going to be so stressed and I'm going to live the next 10 years so stressed. Instead, I'm going to take a couple drinks.
So you're going to have to drink every time you feel stressed.
Yeah, and it works for me, and I have
Be careful not to become an alcoholic, and good luck.
a glass of wine before I go to bed.
Good luck with the rest of your life drinking alcohol like that, because the chances of you being healthy at an older age are smaller, especially brain health.
Yeah. I think the point...
Now, they might say, no, I believe that that's not true. Okay. Yeah. We believe that alcohol is a harmful substance, is a toxic substance that has no use in human health, that only creates harm.
Yeah. And I think the main point is really what we've discussed. You do not need, if you're healthy, you do not need any mind-altering substance to be happy, to live a positive life, to sleep well, to eat well,
but the point
to
that
exercise well, and to be healthy.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
If you're healthy, you don't need any of that to be healthy.
But yes, I agree with that 100%. But the point that I'm trying to make again is this, is about resiliency. Resiliency is, let's say there's a measure. You have 100%, 90%, 80% stress resilience. Your ability to go through something very stressful in your life, get upset because somebody betrayed you, you lost a lot of money, you lost your job, you lost, whatever, your relationship problem, it hits you. So if your score is 100, you're going to feel it, but it's not going to take too long for you to feel better again and go back to your state of balance. That's what the Stoics wanted. The Stoics wanted to be in a state that horrible things would not affect them emotionally at all. They would be able to stay balanced and stay calm. That's the principle of Fudoshin. So 80 is less, 70 is less, 60 is less. If you have a low score, 20, that means that you get very affected, you get very upset, you get very angry with anything that happens that is stressful. Your emotions become very heightened, and it affects you in a bad way. So we want to improve our stress resiliency, always. And we believe that taking mind-altering substances will lower your score. It will weaken your stress resilience. Every time you do it, it's making it weaker. So we believe that in not using any type of mind-altering substance, for example, if you use the mind-altering substance as an excuse to achieve spirituality, to become closer to spirituality, we believe that it's hindering your ability to do it naturally. That is our belief. That is, once again, Valente Brothers' philosophy. That's what we learned from our father. That's what we learned from Grandmaster Helio. And that's how we choose to live our lives.
Good. I hope all of you enjoyed. Thank you so much. Please remember to like the video, support us, comment. We always enjoy reading your comments. And if you have any questions, and also turn on the notification bell. Thank you so much, and we'll see you soon.
Thank you.